Welcome to another episode of A&B Sports Media, the podcast. My name is AJ.
And I'm Bill.
And we got a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
Hi.
Welcome, Gabe.
Gabe is one of our longtime friends. Me and Gabe have known each other since second grade. He has always been a big fan of soccer, and that is most of the reason why we brought him on the show today. Also for the fact that he has Union season tickets, and I'm trying to comp them anytime that I can.
Bill's trying to get in goodwill right now.
Always.
So let's actually jump into that. I have probably a very beginning question going back to the good old days. When did you first realize you were engulfed in soccer? When did you realize you had a love for it?
So I actually, I know. I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't always love soccer.
I know you did.
I liked playing soccer.
You did.
With friends and all, but I didn't watch the game or anything. But I guess it must have been 2017 or 2018. So not that long.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I love going to live sporting events, and Union tickets were so cheap.
Yeah,
Literally,
that's true.
you could find they were like River Sharks prices.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I would love to go to a River Sharks game if they were still around.
Season tickets there.
If I hit the Powerball or the Mega, bring the River Sharks back.
Got our tickets.
That's
We're
worth the
waiting for
money.
that.
I'm in.
I didn't really care for professional soccer. I went to the Union games just like I would go to a River Sharks game, not knowing anybody's names or just there for the experience. But then I went to England and saw a game there and just saw the environment, and I was like,
The
oh
crowd,
my God. I was
how the fans interact,
Yeah.
how passionate it is.
yeah, and it was constant action. It wasn't all the sports we watch here, commercials every however many minutes,
They'll
True.
throw in a commercial when they can.
Yeah.
What do we see on football? A play happen, commercial, a play happen, commercial.
Yep.
An injury, commercial during the injury, going back to a commercial.
And don't get me wrong, I love football still. I love
yeah.
baseball. I love basketball. I love it all. But I don't know, soccer
It's
just
grown
really
on you.
grabbed a hold of me. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments for you, I forget whose birthday party we were at, but you ran late with another friend. I can't remember his name because it's been so long ago. It was International World Cup, and I think it was Ghana and somewhere else.
No, it was wait, we went to the game?
No,
Oh.
we were just watching it and we're late to the party.
Oh goodness. Well, that's classic me.
I got a good kick out of it.
For the record, I was early today.
You were.
You were.
You were very
were.
early. I appreciate the punctuation.
I was rolling up. I was like, I think we're good. He's not going to nope. He's going to see us.
I was like,
setting up.
AJ's going to run late. That's okay.
Of course, always do. I am not punctual. So what do you? I guess how do you view the Union season so far, going on?
So I would say it's successful. They had a rough start, but it was because they were so successful last season. They were playing in the Champions League, which is I don't know if you're familiar with the European format. It's they take
Vaguely, but yeah.
so
Keep going.
they'll take the top teams from the top European leagues, and then all around Europe, and then they'll play while their regular season is going on, they're playing tournament games.
Yeah.
For this
Kind of like the
for
Leagues
Champions
Cup
League.
going on then.
Similar, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, with Champions League it's called the CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah.
As opposed to
that's what it
UEFA's. Yeah. So, Champions League here is the beginning of the MLS season, and I want to say it's towards the end of the Mexican season, which is that's the two biggest leagues are the Mexican League and the MLS.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. They also include Caribbean League teams and then Central America.
Yeah, I was gonna say Philadelphia recently played Club Tijuana in the Leagues Cup, so that threw me off because originally I was like, wait a minute. Where did this team come from? It's not on in the standings. Me and him were like, what's going on? We have no idea.
Yeah, Bill pulled it up. He was like, let's see how the Union are doing. He's like, how are they playing this team right now?
I didn't know how to explain it because that's something unique to soccer that other sports don't do. Right. Yeah, they may travel to Europe for a game, like the German game for football,
right,
or the UK game or whatever for basketball in China, but there's no ever sport besides soccer that actually has a league inside of a league going on, or
Right.
like tournaments with other international teams.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing in its own right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I really enjoy about it. Like the fact that it's like a global thing. Like the Union, for instance, like they're not the biggest spenders. You know, you've heard about the Messi transfer. Everybody's heard about the Messi transfer.
Yeah.
But like, and they went, and now Inter Miami's like the biggest club in the world somehow.
Yeah.
But the Union are like the opposite end of that, where they spend like no money, but they always find this like diamond in the rough, and then they have a team that plays in the championship.
Yeah.
Like
That's impressive scouting right there.
Yeah,
right.
I was going to say that is very good scouting to get these people.
In Ernst, we trust. Ernst
Yep.
is the
Ernst.
GM, or
Okay.
essentially the
Somebody.
GM. Yeah.
Trust you. We're trusting
We're
you.
trusting
Right.
your judgment here.
Well, actually, what do you think of like Messi? With
I was-
the whole
yeah,
thing?
that
You
was
think
gonna be a
you
big
think
one.
It's a good thing. You think it's a bad thing?
So, I think it's definitely good for the league. It's going to bring more money, obviously. Like,
I mean, the tickets
more-
skyrocketed.
Yeah.
They literally
Yeah.
canceled ticket orders so people would have to buy them again at triple the price.
I think one person actually sold a ticket and they got like a surgery or something for that. Just like
Oh, wow.
It like exponentially jumped up that much where they
Yeah.
could afford like a knee surgery or something like that. And everyone's like,
Messi
Thanks,
saves
Messi.
lives.
Right,
Who would've
right.
thought? Way to go, Messi. You saved a life.
Yeah.
yeah. And I guess like that's one of the perks of being a season ticket holder. I can't be like priced out of games.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like,
That is
Those
true.
ticket prices, not even for like any other game, probably hasn't seen much of a change.
Right.
But that if Miami is ever coming to Philadelphia, then those ticket prices are going to be exuberantly more.
okay, so actually, like Miami played in Philly.
Oh, okay.
But Messi wasn't like on the team yet.
Oh.
Like everything was confirmed that he was going to be joining the
But
team.
he wasn't there yet.
But he wasn't officially part of the team yet.
Yeah.
And Union ticket prices skyrocketed. Like
Really?
everyone was trying to sell their tickets, but like it was really funny because it was like there was no one knew that Messi was going to be on the team. Like if you didn't pay attention to the Union and the MLS and all that
Yeah.
already, like no one knew that Messi wasn't going to be on the team for this game,
Yeah.
except for like people who pay attention to the league. They're like, oh, he's not going to start until the first game of the League's Cup. But then people still jacked up their tickets and were trying to resell them. I'm sure some of them got sold. I
Oh,
don't know,
probably.
like, but,
I mean, if you didn't, if somebody that doesn't know like the ins and outs of MLS and only found out through the news that Messi's coming to Miami. Oh, cool, they're coming. He's coming to Philadelphia in a week. All right, I'll buy a ticket for it.
Right.
They're not looking at it in too depth. Whereas you, in this case, you could have took advantage and sold your season tickets for that one, and could have got some extra change. I'm just saying that could have been done. I would have done it.
I tried.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah, but I was so late to it because I was trying to see if he was going to be there because I was
Yeah.
thinking about it. I was like,
No, I get that.
I had that debate like, do I want to see the best player in the world or do I want to like
Make money.
make money? But no, once it was announced, I was like, I might as well just see if someone's going to buy these tickets. Like,
Yeah.
But like I think everybody caught on by then that like he wasn't going to be around for it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Like, we're not paying for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was always curious, like how, like if it's going to be like a good, long, consistent thing, because obviously he won't play it forever like Ibrahim did. But like at the same time, is this like a hot fling, like where it's like going to be like we'll say like 5-6 years is like really good like for the sport and then it dies off, or is this going to like kind of propel the sport into like more mainstream for a lot of Americans?
So I think the whole Messi effect, while it's happening now in the League's Cup, all eyes are on this like tournament. Really, all eyes are on Messi in the tournament. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody really knows what's going on with the other teams.
No.
No, not at all.
But yeah. So I mean, once his next season starts, like, okay, Miami right now is bottom of the barrel, bottom of the league. Like,
Is it? Oh, wow.
they're
Okay.
they're awful. They're really bad.
Huh.
Minus the guys they just swooped up and yeah. But they have like this extremely difficult run to get to the playoffs to the end of this year. Like they're gonna have to win almost every game that they play.
wow.
And
Well, they just won recently too against I think it was Dallas. I'm looking it up now.
oh, that was a crazy game.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that the one where like Messi equalize it with like a free kick.
Yeah, it was a beautiful kick too. I did see that.
I just saw a video where it was like the ref was talking to the people on the line, like, to block his free
that was
kick,
our last game.
and Messi's like he moved the ball like 5 times to like place it perfectly where he wanted to, and the ref had no idea because like he's yelling at the wall or whatever's going on, and Messi's just like sneakily like
Messi's like
readjusting.
That's just veteran moves. He's like, I know I can get away with this.
Veteran.
What to do.
But yeah, in terms of like his real effect, I don't know if we'll see it until next season. We'll probably see season ticket prices change.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like I mean, for the Union, they've already gone up. I don't know if it's the Messi effect or not, but like, they've gone up the last few years. But
you weren't kidding though. I just looked up the standings too.
Yeah.
Inter Miami is literally dead last in the Eastern Conference. They got 18 points, and even to be in the playoffs at all to get like to where DC United is, which is the bottom, is 30. So they need to get 12 points with only probably a couple games left, right?
Right, and then they also need everyone else in front of them to lose.
Yeah, they do.
So
it's
wild.
It's definitely a prayer. So how does the Leagues Cup work then?
Okay, so you guys watch the World Cup?
Yeah.
Okay, so like they have a group stage beforehand. The top 2 teams in each group move on. So like I think it's like every team in the group plays the other once. Mm-hmm. So it's like for World Cup they have groups of 4. For Leagues Cup they have groups of 3, just because they don't have the number right.
Yeah.
So the Union, they were in a group with Club Tijuana and Querétaro. I don't know exactly how to say it, but I think that's close. So the Union won both their games, and Querétaro beat Club Tijuana to advance. So Club Tijuana's out, and that the same thing was happening around the rest of the group stages. Whatever teams got in, Messi obviously and Miami are in, and now it's in like a tournament stage.
Right. So
it's just standard tournament. So the first Union game was against DC United, and let me tell you, that game was awful.
Yeah,
honestly,
I can see the score right now. Yeah,
I was so upset watching that game. It was so sloppy and like, but I guess that's like kind of tournament soccer. It's not so much like regular season soccer where you're playing to, get your goal differential up and, showcase some of your players, like save your legs, all those kind of things, like, because it's a long season. Like this is like, don't lose. Yeah. Like
play as best as you can. Play defensively if you have to. Don't lose.
Right.
Do what you got to do.
And they came out with a formation that was very defensive. And like, it was just.
Yeah, I could see they won on penalty kicks from 5-4 and 5-4.
Barely.
So barely.
I honestly like, I was in the stands watching, and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna happen. Like,
terrifying.
And it was just like, just the results. For the record, Union, the last couple times they've played DC in the regular season, they've beat them like 7-0, like 6-1, 7-0, 7-1.
Damn, okay.
And I'm expecting going into this game, I'm like, this is
going to be a slaughter.
Yeah. Like, this is awesome. Like, I can't wait and it's in a tournament that matters. Like, but then I saw 0-0, and I was like, guys, we scraped away with that.
Like, they just played so timid. Was that it? Like, it was.
I think it was just playing not to lose.
Yeah.
True.
Like,
which is funny because like you go, like you said, you go into a game where like you crush this team multiple times.
Yeah.
You should just go in expecting to do that again. And well, they got today at 8:00
against Red Bull New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of that game?
I actually love these games. They play like a very similar style to each other. At least they have in the past. I think they have a new Red Bulls have a new coach.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly what to expect, but like they have in the past played like a very active defense, like each team. So they'll both like pressure on ball and whatever. Whenever as soon as the player gets the ball, like there's a defender there trying to get it from him, and it makes for an exciting game because you see like they have to react quick, they have to make the quick pass, and you see that kind of go down the field like by doing these little passes, and then like the Union for the most part have been like playing out the back, so like they'll make the stop in the back, like, and then sometimes they'll just send it forward to one of their guys, which it happens at least once or twice a game where the guy has an open run for himself. Carranza and Ua for the most part, but Sullivan as well. But today's game, I really don't know. Yeah. Today's game, I don't know. I went into a DC game expecting them to murder them, and
That's true.
And now I'm like, what team is going to come out today?
Give me a score. What do you got?
Well, I mean, yeah, go ahead for the score. I'm looking to see what the.
Hold on. Have they released the lineups yet?
I don't think they have yet because I checked what's called earlier.
I don't think they have.
Going on the
I'm looking up right now.
The official MLS app.
Ooh.
The official MLS app.
Come on, ESPN. You're slacking.
I'm on Google.
All right, we got 3 sources. Okay, anything can happen.
Google ain't got nothing.
Yeah, ESPN does not have anything either.
Nothing.
All right, that's fine.
Awesome.
All right.
Fantastic.
Great. So we'll circle back.
Well, it's round of 16, so we're hoping they don't just play not to lose for the majority of the game.
Yeah. And then it's if they win this game, I think they would have to win.
They play
one more.
Yeah, it's the quarter. This is the round of 16. Quarterfinals are coming up.
Okay.
And they would have to play against, I don't know who QRO is, but that is.
That's Querétaro.
What is it?
Querétaro.
Where the heck is
team that they beat in the group stage? I'm not sure where, honestly. Okay. Somewhere in Mexico.
Cool.
Yeah. But I'm honestly, my brain's so warped with Messi. Yeah, it's the round of 16, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, if they win this game and then they win Saturday, there's a chance they play Messi. But
it's actually very
final.
No, they would play in the semifinal.
Right, no, but the final's the big deal, you know?
Yeah. But hey, if you beat Messi in the semis and then you take the final in the leagues, that's huge.
Yeah. It would be the second, trophy in Union history.
So what are your thoughts on the past few years of Union?
Oh my
being
God!
so close.
Oh my God!
I was gonna say, did you get to go to that game?
I was honestly, so I was at the Eastern final.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was walking out of the stadium looking up plane tickets and game tickets. And stuff.
Oh right, it was in LA. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, can I do this?
I don't blame you.
But then I'm like. It's just so tough, and that even with the League's Cup, it's so tough because you have the semifinal. I mean the Eastern Conference final, and then a week later is the league final.
Yeah.
And so it's traveling prices, things like that. It's just so expensive.
Yeah.
And same with the League's Cup, and it's hard to plan. The League's Cup, today's game was supposed to be played yesterday, but even that game was announced oh, we're gonna be playing them in 5 days or something like that, on a Monday night, and it's just
hard.
You have to be so reactive.
You do,
especially in these kind of situations.
I mean, even today, looking at the Phillies, they had a doubleheader that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and people weren't prepared for that. People are probably sitting. I know people are sitting around waiting for their at the stadium for the next round, but. Actually, I was wondering how the tickets work for that situation, too.
So, the way it works is, especially yesterday where they had just, bad weather, and they were like, all right, we're going to postpone it.
Yeah.
It's one ticket, you're in.
Okay.
Type deal.
So, what happens to all the people that have the same seats for that second game? Did they get refunded?
So, that's a good question, because the way that it works is you pretty much either show up for the game, right?
Yeah.
And you sell it, So normally what they do is they kind of reach out and they're like, hey, are you going to come to the game? You say yes or no. My confusion is what if they don't answer and just kind of don't show up?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I heard today that they didn't honor the tickets for today's game. They said you get credit. Yeah, they'll just give you the credit for a future game. So people could have spent it on this.
They could have put it back on
their same exact seat. But
I get it.
Which honestly, I prefer that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you have your schedule all messed up, it's hard to get it redone.
Oh yeah, especially it's 7 hours of baseball.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Not everyone can handle that. No, but just jumping back into soccer because I know I went off on a tangent. I apologize.
No worries.
How could you?
I'm always about that. I was going to say I've just been looking up odds in general while we were talking too. I was actually shocked to see. I don't know if this is common. I don't know if you would know. Because Gabe also has a history with previous employment with Bet365.
Bet365 actually.
Okay,
but
fine.
no, say whatever you want.
But I'm still saying 365. Don't
Yeah,
care.
that's fine.
But have you ever noticed? I know the odds. Actually, I just noticed that it was both underdog odds. It's Philadelphia Union plus 125. This is on DraftKings, by the way. Sorry. Philadelphia Union plus 125. Draw is plus 225, and Red Bull, New York Red Bulls is plus 240. So there's no favorite in this game either.
Right.
So.
Really?
Is that normal though for soccer? Because I'm looking down the line of other games like Club America, Nashville SC, Toccoa, Minnesota United. They're all considered underdogs.
Well, because you have 3 options. It's not just like
It's win, lose, or
Right.
tie.
Yeah. I'm just confused on why the draw is so high. Because normally when it comes to betting, and I know this because I almost won. It was like. It had to be like 2016, 2017 when Portugal was in
World Cup.
It was. I think it was the European Cup. I think it was something like that.
That would make sense.
They
Gold
were
Cup.
they were in the championship, and I think they were facing France or someone like that. And I bet on them to win, and they won. But they won in
Penalty.
extra
Yeah.
time. So technically, I didn't win because those bets are for
very
just like that.
they're
full-
very.
Yeah.
So that's probably why too, is because a lot of games tend to also go into like extra time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Did you call up your sports book and make a big stink about it?
No, I got drunk and then
Happens, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, what AJ was saying, like, yeah, because you have those 3 options, kind of could be anything.
Okay,
Like,
fair enough. I just
yeah.
want to make sure because I was even looking into like correct score too.
Yeah.
And you can even call the correct score up to 3-3 if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
That's
Now
not.
you're
What
just wild.
Yeah, unfortunately, because this game starts at 8 o'clock tonight, the lines that we're looking at and everything, by the time this gets published, unfortunately, we won't be able to give you good betting ideas. So what I'm going to say instead is when it comes to the game props, I'm going to go to the correct score and say 5-1 with 10 corner kicks to have a shit ton crazy odds. And if it was actually to hit, then I'm a genius and we knew it. But in reality, no.
It's on record.
It's on record.
If it happens.
Over 10 corners, score 5-1 Philadelphia Union.
There we go.
I'm gonna go 1-1, going in extras.
And then who wins in the shootout?
You know what?
Say it right.
I want to say Philly. I
Yeah.
do.
Okay, we're good.
All right,
You don't
yeah,
have to
no,
say anymore.
Philly.
You
All
won
right.
and you
Don't
did
say
it.
anymore.
All right, that's all you need to know then.
Now-
Billy said the rest.
Yep. Now, when you worked at Bet365, I got it right this time.
Wow.
That was when you worked in the UK, though, right?
Yeah. So I was there for 2 months.
Okay.
So I had interviewed, and I don't know what was going on really, like in the world, but like the world affected. The U.S. government was shut down, and they were like, "Oh, we can't get our company all doing like operations in the U.S." So they had already picked their candidates, and they were like, "Well, let's bring them to the UK." Like, and I think it was like 6 of us in customer service, or 8 of us, maybe 8 of us, and then like 3 or 4 people in the fraud department. Like those were like the essential ones that you needed to operate in the U.S. So they brought us all out, and I was there for 2 months. The owner of Bet365, really the family, they're all like based in Stoke-on-Trent. It's like a Midlands town, about an hour outside of Manchester.
Okay.
The family owns Stoke City FC.
Okay.
And you'll see like the Bet365 on their chest.
Makes sense.
And
Checks
it's
out.
yeah, it's Bet365 Stadium. So like, they honestly, I think they employ like half the town. Like, no joke.
Really?
But,
Wow. Oh my
yeah,
God.
Awesome.
Like it's the biggest sports book in the world as far as I'm aware. Like, that's what they told me back then. It might still be
Maybe.
Yeah.
DraftKings, is a giant force to be reckoned with now.
in the
Yeah.
U.S.
In the U.S.
That
so
is
that's
true.
got me looking
Yeah.
this up.
True.
So but working there was cool for a while.
Yeah.
I definitely, for the 2 months that I was like in England, I really tried to take advantage. I went to see What did I see? Everton versus Arsenal.
Ooh, Everton, my team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it was I got FIFA a while ago.
Yeah.
And I did like a creative player, and I was like, all right, well, whatever team it just naturally goes to, I'm choosing that team, and it was Everton.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, we're rolling.
One of my friends from college is a huge Everton fan, I was like, well, they're right there, and also the tickets were like £20 or like $25 ish.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, why not?
Yeah, right?
The stadium is super old though, and like the seat that I had, so they have pillars in the stands.
Oh,
And so like, I don't know, the seat that I had, there was a portion of the field that I couldn't see. But that's fine. It was fine. It was like a historic stadium, like two Premier League teams. I saw it for like no money at all.
Yeah.
Like
Everton and Arsenal.
it was
like,
awesome.
that's
yeah. I mean, the Premier League games they had here in Philly, like, I mean, I didn't check the prices, but I'm sure they were way more.
Oh, 100%.
And it was preseason.
Yeah, everything's inflated here.
Yeah.
Well, also too that like because you don't really get to see them at all.
Right,
here.
right.
So that would make sense why they would be a little bit more. They're just like we see them. We know
Yeah.
they're there.
Just another Saturday.
Exactly. Well, so when you were at like Bet365, like what did you do specifically for the company?
So I was in customer service. It was my first like office job out of college.
Yeah.
I would, well, okay. So when I first started, they didn't have like U.S. customers at all. They had, they had customers around the world. So like I would talk on the phone with like, I don't know, trying to think.
People pissed off about their bets about cricket not going through.
Honestly, yes, a lot of that.
A lot of cricket?
A lot of cricket.
I'm not surprised.
That's amazing.
Goddamn bowler's not pitching right. That's all their fault.
Yeah. It was cricket and
Really?
soccer.
Yeah,
And
soccer
cricket were
makes
the two
sense.
biggest, and then horse racing.
That I'm not surprised about.
Yeah.
Horse racing is an addiction of mine that we don't talk about.
It's kind of like it's the looming elephant in the room, but
Yes.
looming horse. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
missed
the looming
opportunity
horse,
there.
yeah.
you missed that one. Missed it by a leg.
God damn it, dude. God damn it. Sorry, but continue.
Yeah,
No,
please.
I mean, yeah. Furlongs. What else? What other?
Furlongs.
Can you fit that into a sentence somehow?
He's
Not easily.
repressed it. He's
I'm trying to
right
repress
now.
it. I don't want, when it comes to horse racing, it is one of those definite you win. It's that one was the ultimate high for me, like winning something because it was like I won once big, and I'm not. It's not even big in the terms of gambling
I was
standards.
there, wasn't I?
You were.
Yeah.
It was $250, and I won a
That's pretty big.
superfecta. And
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You've known I've hit a couple superfectas when I was
Yeah.
really into horse racing. I was texting Gabe
Yeah,
pretty
I
frequently,
remember.
like, "Hey, I hit another superfecta out of nowhere, $80, $90 right there," but that one gave me such a rush.
Yeah, baby.
I was sitting there shaking, and he saw me too. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Mind you, I was pissed because my horse was leading the whole way
And
until
then
the
he
end.
fucking
The one
died.
that hit him, the superfecta, was the one that ran right by
Bolted
that
back
man.
at the last
Wow.
second, took fourth, and I was like,
I
"Oh,"
was like, God damn it! And
because
Bill's just
I
like
fucked
freaking
up that
out.
bet too.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's right.
I wanted to do I think it was like a 50-cent superfecta. So when it, just to explain to the people that don't know, when it comes to horse racing,
Refresher.
you don't have to bet $1 or anything like that. It can be in terms of cents, like 20 cents, 50 cents, whatever. And the reason why, when you do a box, which means you're selecting any horses from 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the case of a superfecta, anytime you're betting on them, you have to bet all the combinations. So there's 24 combinations. So if you do a 10-cent superfecta, it's $2.40. That's because you're paying for each 10 cents is 24 different ones. $2.40. My dumbass fucked up and just did a straight dollar, so I had to pay $24 for this bet, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot, but for me and him about a couple years ago,
Right.
I didn't have that type of money.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't have.
He
full
saw how
faith.
frustrated I was too. I was like, I fucked up. I didn't mean to do this.
Bill was like, I was gonna have a good day today.
I'm like, I'm already out of money. Like, I'm like, shit.
Right.
And then the guy came around, and I'm like, oh, And I went back to the same teller. He goes, "Holy shit, you actually hit that!" I'm like, "I know." I'm shocked too.
Yeah.
We got sushi that day.
We did. I paid for your sushi.
That's what started it.
That's what's.
Or was it
No,
Isaiah?
that was Isaiah and
Okay.
Chris. So that was another night we were at the casino, and he won. Isaiah, our one friend, who has lovely email suggestions, won us a shit ton of money, or him a shit ton of money, and paid for me and my friend's dinner.
Nice.
After that, we've come up with a rule amongst our friends that if you win,
I think it's like over like $200-300.
yeah, $200-300, something where you can act like it's considerable.
Like
in
you,
our
you
case.
go out, spend a little bit on your friends, but still you
Yeah,
pocket
Right.
mostly for
Yeah.
food, but
Yeah.
you can keep the most for yourself. Like in the case for me and him, it was $250. I bought him some sushi. We called it a day.
Nice.
Whereas, like, there's been times where people have won a shit ton more, naming him,
Yeah.
while we were playing. Well, no, I'm sorry. He was playing craps, and I was feeding him info on what to do.
So
Yeah.
I was playing. I don't know if I still play I play craps. A whole refresher goes
You
in.
fucking die
and
every
I'm
time
like-
you play
I'm like,
craps.
oh, this is awesome. I'm having a good
Yeah.
time. But every time I'm off the craps table, I forget how to play.
I was
every
literally sitting there
time.
going, AJ, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm like, figure it out. I'm telling
Every
you.
time. And then like it takes me a few. I'm like, oh wait, I'm an idiot. I know it.
Yeah.
I know
Right,
you-
yeah.
So
Playing the
I
field
played
bet.
the field, and then I was pushing. But Bill's like, no, like push here, do this.
Yeah,
do
telling
that.
him to press down on his bets.
There was one bet where it's like you had to hit like the exact. Like,
Yep, 11.
die.
I was telling him
It
to
was
roll 11.
and I immediately rolled it. Like
Wow.
right
I was
on
like,
the
put
spot.
5 on 11 right now. It's like, I think it's like 30. It's 30 to 1 odds.
Yep.
Yeah.
He won $150 right there.
Wow,
I'm
right
sitting in
there.
the background because everyone's like, he's not even winning money. I'm like, no. I'm not winning money, but I'm winning a free meal.
Yeah,
His ass.
We went to Butcher and Singer.
You
Beautiful
had the,
restaurant.
Like the Ocean's 11 magnet
Yeah.
or something in the
Yeah,
pocket. You're
pretty
like
much.
11, saying 11.
We're glad
But,
you didn't hear this.
And
Right.
and it was just one of those. It was one of those like gambling nights where like it was just perfect because
Yeah.
we were pressing, and then I was just like, you know what? I feel like we should ease off.
Yeah,
We'll-
you
Yeah.
we'll
regress
take
after
off-
some point.
Well, I took every outside of like maybe like the minimum bet. I took everything else.
Well,
off.
yeah,
we
yeah.
had a decent stack.
Your place
Yeah.
bets, you had up to $120 something.
Yeah.
So,
we were
because
rolling
I
that
kept telling you,
constantly.
because the strategy that I was telling you to do is every time you win, you take that once.
Yep.
Then the next one you press.
Yep.
Just so you can have that winnings from it.
But to be
Right.
completely honest, for the beginning of it, I think we just kept pressing.
Yeah, we were.
We just
well, no,
kept
it was press, take, press, take, press, take.
No, for the first three though, we just
Yeah,
immediately pressed.
you immediately
yeah.
press. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to get some money.
But
I'm actually,
no, and then I was just like, you know what? Let's take the thing like
Yeah.
unpress and then just leave like
yeah, you put the minimum. You
Yeah.
put, we
And
went
within
down to the minimum.
Two rolls, everything. had
Everyone
taken
went
off,
out.
and I
Yeah,
was
Wow.
somebody
Woo.
slevened out.
Yeah.
That guy was rolling for a while though. I got to give him
That's
credit.
awesome.
There was 4 of us in
Yeah.
a row. Like I was rolling for a minute, got the hot hand, then the
Yeah.
guy next to me, then the guy next to him, and
Yeah.
it was like, all right.
I'm teaching another friend craps this weekend too.
I love
Craps is
craps.
so
The only
much fun.
problem-
I love craps
what's
so
up?
much.
It's so much fun.
It is fun. It's a
Yeah.
great store, great game in general. The only annoying thing is though, you will throw out so much money on your initial bet.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I've done, like I sit there when I'm bored and I'll like put up a craps table like
Yeah.
online,
Yeah.
and put out my normal budget. I look at it and go, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I just put out half my money and it already
Right.
sevened out.
Yep.
So it's like, because I like when I play craps, I will play the pass line, throw money on 11 and the hard way, and C&E basically. It's where you hit 11 or the craps. So that's 2, 3, or 12.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And after that, I've already thrown down, depending on table minimum, between $30, $40 right
Yeah.
then and there. I'm only running with a $200, $300 bankroll if I'm
Yeah.
lucky with the 300. But then after that, I'm putting $18 down on 6 and 8. Like I've already done so much, and then by then somebody's throwing out 7.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
have you had any crazy gambling stories like that? though?
You work for Bet 365.
Yeah.
Have you like done anything like that?
So back in my Wii gambling days,
Mm-hmm.
I only played games where like I could see what was happening.
Fair.
So like I didn't like playing slots because like
Yeah. No.
Bad
It's
house
just
edge
like-
as it is, 60%. It's terrible.
blackjack was cool, but I was like it wasn't exciting enough, because it's like 1-to-1 for the most part unless you
Yeah.
special bets in there.
Yeah.
The side bets, yeah.
So I was playing roulette, like that was my game.
That's a good game. Too.
And
That's Isaiah's too.
Yeah,
That's what he wins
and
money
yours.
on.
so you at Borgata actually,
Represent. I'll be there this weekend.
they had the it was like the roulette table in the middle, but then you could do all the bets on the screen.
Oh, the electronic
okay,
roulette.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like it was physical table,
Yeah.
which I was like perfect. And then I had the screen, I could do, instead of like at the real tables, I think minimum bets are like 15 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's like $1.
Yeah, it was like I think it was like you had to have $3 of bets like spread
enough.
out throughout
Yeah,
the table.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50, and I would put like 50 cents on like the corners so I could have 4 numbers at once.
Smart.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, for whatever reason it was working. Like $3. So what I had six chips, like on 4 different quadrants, and I was making my money a lot, and I ended up I think I got up to like $40 or $50. I put $20 in the machine. I got up $40, $50, and like I was like, oh, I'm feeling good, and I put $5 on red. I mean, $5 on 14 red. And it hit, and I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, that's $150 right there.
Yeah, I was
Or
like, oh my god.
180, I think.
180.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like,
36 to 1.
To me at the time, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's
like,
huge.
And
especially when you hit a number like that's like so like out there. You're like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of like sports betting, it was on a Union game.
Really?
Yeah. I like in terms of the most money I've won in a game, like it was a Union game. But like my highest odds was a I don't know if it was
I didn't even think about odds.
right. Yeah, like
Oh, that's a good point.
I did a $25 bet on an NFL game a few years ago. Side note, I love how it's like you always remember.
You do.
Oh,
You always remember.
You remember your wins, but you do remember your losses. You
gonna-
choose to forget them
I was
now.
going to bring up a loss, and it pisses me off. To this day.
Yeah. But yeah, it was I'll go with the NFL one.
Right.
It was Saints Chiefs, and this was Drew Brees was still playing. So both teams were like crazy high scoring teams, and I was like, everyone's scoring a touchdown this game.
Yeah.
I put $25. I did the over. I did Chiefs minus 2.5 or 3 or whatever it was. And then it was like Kelsey to score a touchdown, Hill to score a touchdown, Kamara to score a touchdown, Michael Thomas to score a touchdown. Like I put them all, like the top 6 it must have been, and they all hit. And I was just like,
That's amazing.
What was the payout?
$25 to win. I think it was like $1,200 and change.
Good shit.
I was just like,
Good job.
and my cousin actually, I was texting my cousin because she put a parlay for like the whole day, and it was like it was I think she said $5 or 50 cents or something like that, but like to win 200 something, and she took the Saints spread, and I was like, ooh, sorry, I'm rooting against you.
You done goofed.
I had one where it was all TD props throughout the day. I forget. It was 5 people. I forget the exact people, but I remember the one that didn't hit. The reason I know it didn't hit.
I
is
remember
the
this
way,
one.
The way it didn't hit, because it was 5 people, and they all were like plus 200. Like it was plus 200 and higher odds. So I think the payout would have been like $5,000. And it was the Eagles versus Washington.
Yep.
The one game they decided to just shit the bed, and it was Quez Watkins to score a touchdown. And it was the one where they were down. Hurts throws an absolute dime to
Beautiful.
Quez Watkins. He, for some reason, tried to, like, lunge for it when it was right there. Stumbles a bit, gets up, and the guy smacks the ball out and fumbles it. And I was so fucking furious, dude.
bet.
So furious. I was, like, because I hit, so what I do is I'll play, like, the individuals, and then I'll do, like, maybe, like, a 5-10 bet, like, on the parlay.
Yeah.
So no matter what, if a few hit, I'm still winning money. It's just rotating week by week. If I hit the big one, I hit the big one.
Yeah.
So it completely ruined any wins that I had that day. I was like, I'm so pissed off, dude.
Yeah.
I hated it. But going back to roulette too.
Yeah, he has unbelievable luck.
Not me, Isaiah. But
Isaiah has unbelievable
I figured
luck.
out a pattern, but it didn't. But I didn't click until the 3rd or 4th time.
Yeah.
So a while ago, I was at roulette, and I think I had $80, and I was just playing like the outsides, and I was like, screw it. I had $15 left.
Yeah, 25.
No, not this time. This is the very first time.
Sorry, I remember your wins.
I was like $80, and it was just constantly going around, and then my friends were hitting a few, and I was like, I got $15 left. I'm just, you know what? Screw it. This will be the end of it. Put it on 13.
No way.
And it just I was like, screw it, and I turned around, and I had my friend just slap my shoulder. I looked, and it hit 13.
No way.
Let's go. But what I noticed, and I did this for him.
He did.
Because we were playing online, just dicking around one day.
He did.
And our friend Mike, we were on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our friend Mikey and Schlag were there too. What you do is 13 will hit. You wait 5 times, and then bet 13 and it'll hit again.
It works.
It works.
Interesting.
It actually works. It's genuinely confusing.
I may try this tonight.
Don't use it all the time. But when you see that 13, you got that little like rumble in your tumble. That's it. It has not let me down yet.
Meanwhile, I have a very different strategy.
Okay.
I play the 0, 00, and then what I've been doing more and more is putting in between the 0 and 1. Putting it in between 0 and 1.
Yeah.
There's one where you could do 0, 00, and 2.
Yeah.
And then 00 and 3. So it's those. So it covers your minimum on the table, but you have those 5 numbers.
Yeah.
And if you hit the 2, it's nice, but you want to hit the 0, 00. But what I found out, which I'm still pissed at DraftKings website for this today, I hit the one day I hit 0. So here's put it on 00. I do that. My client crashes. I checked the number. It was 00. I was pissed.
Devastating.
I think I was watching.
You were.
That. Yeah, because I was like, that's the saddest thing.
Wow.
Because we all were like, it hit. It definitely hit. There's no way.
I was doubling down too because I think I had like $5 on it. I was gonna put like 10 or 15, so it'd have been over $300-400, and I was excited. And no,
would have been nice.
Yeah,
real nice.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I have a customer story.
Ooh,
About the biggest loss I ever had to deal with personally.
oh, I'm excited.
No.
Okay, so there was a guy, and who knows when this was? This could have been forever ago.
We don't know when. We don't care.
So he had bet. Well, I'm gonna have to say the specific game.
That's fine. The game's fine.
But now because the time period. Anyway, so this was a customer that like we had spoken to in the past. Like eventually you have your regulars, quote unquote.
Greg.
Hey Jerry, how can I help?
Yeah.
Greg, what did you bet this time? What did the missus say?
Right. So what he was doing was he would go to Atlantic City, and he would just bet on NFL all day, all Sunday. And so he started with like $500 or something like that, and he would bet on specific games, and like cash out or let it ride, whatever. And so he started with $500, and he made it up to, my goodness, I think he had like 30,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he bet it on. It was
The whole
Sunday
30K?
night. He bet the whole thing. It was Sunday Night Football on Ravens at Patriots. I don't know if you guys remember that game. Ravens were like minus 300 or something like that, and it was like pouring rain and like.
Oh yeah, isn't that the one where they literally just ran the ball the whole time?
I don't remember the game honestly. I remember because of this bet.
Yeah.
And the bet lost. Like the Patriots ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. I kid you not. Immediately after the game ended, he's calling. Somebody hacked my account. Somebody was like, I didn't place this bet. And it's like, dude, this is within your pattern of betting. Like, it's like, secrets. We know it's you. We know you're the guy that placed the bet.
We know you did it.
And it's just like,
That's
I felt for him though, because
Yeah.
I'm like, my goodness. And it's like, that's the thing. It's like there's no sure thing. There's
Never.
no
There's
lock.
never a guaranteed bet.
Like everyone, I'm sure you listen back to all the shows and everything that were talking about that game. They were like, there's no way Ravens go into New England and lose this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think that was the Mac Jones where he threw 5 times. They just ran. They just kept him off the field.
It was yeah.
That's insane. Now here's a good question. If you remember, do you ever not follow up, but keep an eye on his account to see if he still kept betting?
Well, I mean, he was still contact, so like he kept betting.
I figured.
There a lot of people that would say, "I'm never playing with this sportsbook again." They would be back.
They'd be back in a week.
And it's like, dude, I understand you're upset, but we've explained this rule to you. Like, I have the notes of every contact that you've ever made. Like, I know what people have said to you, and I know, like, we're not giving you more money, Like,
Yeah,
and
you
then he's
lost
like-
it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like,
That could have paid, for some random dude in Jersey's child support. God no. student loans, but no, you just
Right.
decide to bet it all.
Yeah, it's
Someone give me
it's
$30,000,
scary, and I'm
please.
gonna correlate this with news too. Excuse me.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Because but ESPN and Penn actually got together and they made a deal. Part of the deal was they sold Penn sold all of their 100% of Barstool back to Dave.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah. So Dave now has 100% again. The way he described it is
He wants his baby back.
He goes on rants. He's like, I still have all my stock on Penn. They're fantastic people, yada yada. He said that just because of the way Barstool is, because of him, a lot of things they wanted to do when it came to like policies and stuff like that, like they couldn't really push it through. So what happened is that now Penn sold everything over of Barstool to Dave, and Penn is now not in talks anymore. It's confirmed. ESPN's going to have a betting service, ESPN Bet.
Oh.
But I'm very concerned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that is the gambling in the United States in the past 4 to 5 years
Exploded
has
exponentially,
grown
yeah.
way too fucking quickly.
Right.
Like, especially on football. Granted, I know football is probably the most bet on sport, probably like at least this day and age.
I was going to say in
But
the United States.
Like that I've had this conversation with our friend Mikey before too, where it's like every single commercial is gambling.
Yeah.
And like that's not really a good thing when, a lot of kids also watch this.
Right.
A lot of people that are, will have addictive personalities watch this too. Like, granted, I'm happy that now it's more acceptable and a lot more lenient that people can bet now. You can bet online and a lot easier. But like now that ESPN's getting
It's
into
not
this,
a good thing that it's easier.
Not at all.
That's why I don't bet anymore, because it was so easy to have on my phone say, oh, I could put $50 in, like for the week,
Right.
and then do that every single week. Okay, $50 in the long run for some people isn't bad. Even for me, I have a good job, don't care about that, but I can
Subtle flex, cool.
Yeah. Like it can, it's manageable, but some people unfortunately don't have that type of cash where they're like, oh, I'm going to put $50 in a week, when in reality they can't afford that. That's going to fuck them over. Or they do what I did when I had more of an issue, is where I'm like, oh, I'm going to put $25 on the horses now. And then the next day I'm like, you know what? I won a little bit yesterday. Why don't I just top up? I'm going to put in an extra 50.
Yeah.
And then the last day where I knew I had an issue is where I put, I think it was $300. Not in total, but, well, yes, in total.
Yeah.
$100 each day to bet. And I didn't win for shit either.
Yeah.
Luckily, I caught it, and I was like, oh, shit. That's, like, it's the only reason why I don't have ease of access to horse racing on my phone.
Yeah.
DraftKings is not on my phone anymore. Barstool's not on my phone anymore. I can remember that one. Those two accounts are actually closed. The horse betting account still is live. I'm not going to lie. But I saved that only for the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont Stakes, and there's a third race. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So I don't race bet on that one either. So it's really only those two.
If I could just do a quick responsible gambling.
Thank you.
Yeah. So having worked in the sports betting, that's like, I know people are always like, they just want to take our money, which I guess to an extent is true, but like, that's the business.
Yeah.
But like, they don't want to make money from someone who's become addicted. So like a lot of the training that we did actually was like how to spot, potentially problem gamblers. And like, to make everyone aware of like the responsible gambling options. So it was like deposit limits, timeouts, cooldowns.
I'll wear those.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I'd like to think I don't have any type of gambling problem, but like I set deposit limits on my account, and I don't think I've ever hit my deposit limit, but like, I know like I don't want to spend this much. Like I don't want to like.
It creeps up on you quickly, too.
Right.
does,
Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, oh, well, there's this game today. Like, oh my God, if you're betting basketball or like even baseball, you're like,
hockey, where you have multiple games in a night.
right. Yeah.
You're betting on football. I know football's only on Sundays, but you
Yeah.
got baseball, hockey, soccer. Everything's during the week.
yeah.
Yep.
You got every game that you can during the week.
At your fingertips.
Yeah.
At your
That's why
fingertips.
I can't be on my phone anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you needed like a bookie or you needed to go to like
Yeah.
different places. Now it's there.
Sports betting was so like not even lucrative. It was more like you need to know someone just to make it happen. Like when I first got into it, like for the Kentucky Derby, we had to go through some shady ass bookie that my cousin knew.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know who you're going with. I'm like, what's the odds? Shit. All right, here's $20. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Exactly.
It's like, no, here, just take it.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm going to lose it. Here you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's curious to see where gambling is gone, especially like throughout on major outlets too. Like the fact that ESPN bet's going to be a thing now.
I don't think that's gonna work well either. I think we're getting
ESPN's owned by Disney.
Yeah, it's not gonna work well. Ha ha!
Right?
Bet on the Knicks.
The mouse gets richer.
I mean, what else?
I think honestly the biggest thing is like keeping the like actual sponsor, like there has to be a divide, you know? Like you can't have sports betting companies affiliated so closely with leagues and teams and things. Like I know there's oversight and all these things, but it's like it doesn't help the customers trust like what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you guys are aware of the Mavericks game where it was like FanDuel had odds for Luka Doncic points like over under 11.5. On a normal night, you're like, whoa, that's crazy. But it was announced that like the coach would be taking him out after the first quarter in order to save him for something. I don't know. I don't know exactly why. But like before the game, it was announced that he would be taken out after the first quarter. So a bunch of people slammed the under. And I think he was at like 10 points or something like that. And then first quarter ends. He's put in for like
a minute,
something like that, like
just to make a point or two.
And he makes a basket, and all of a sudden the over hits.
Yeah,
and it's just like, people are like, "What was that?" Like
that's
it was
shady.
like everything pointed to him not being in after the first quarter.
Yeah.
He had 10 after the first, and then it was just like
a surefire bet.
So people are like, and I mean, who knows what other circumstances might have led to like him actually being brought in for a minute or so, but like it's just like. That does not look good.
No, that doesn't look good at all.
Not at all.
There was...
Especially in basketball, that's like constantly like, been like, hey, this is rigged.
Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with sports being screwed up by refereeing, officiating, but also by gaming commissions as well. There's a big thing going on. There was a big thing a while ago. I think it was on one of our first episodes I brought it up. There was a UFC event going on, and this is with a prelim. So these are people that you don't really know about or give a shit about. Sorry to those fighters. I respect every single one of you. But this guy, I can't remember his name at this point. The coach had obviously he's the coach, gave out insider information that his own fighter's right leg was busted. To the point where he's like, go for a finish, most likely in the first round, maybe the second round. If he gets kicked in the leg, his leg's going to tear up. And sure as shit, it happens.
Yeah.
And it turns out there was massive amounts of bets on this dude to get finished in the first round.
Wow.
And the gaming commission was like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
So they called him out. They did an investigation. The guy suspended. It actually was the former camp of Brandon Moreno, too, the former flyweight champion. But he left at that point. He went somewhere else. But that's one big thing in general that I've been seeing is just even the gaming commissions can be a little bit corrupt. Recently with the UFC pay-per-view, the Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje fight.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't regarding like sports betting, but this is still going on towards corruption. The Utah Gaming Commission, because that's where it was located, decided not to disclose the payouts of all the fighters, which they were stating that reason why was to keep the safety of all the fighters and towards their agreements with their contracts or negotiating. Whereas I think it's the other way around where they're trying to protect the UFC, which they probably will because they've already had two big events there. They're covering for them the disclose their pay. Utah's getting another card pretty soon. I got money on that. But people, if they don't know how much they're making on these fights, then it's not fair to the fighters that are trying to negotiate their salaries when they're potentially on a 10K contract where they get 10K to show up and 10K to fight. Yeah. They're making 20 grand. It's shit. Yeah. And I mean, some of the people like they popped out, like Bobby Green, who's one of the non-ranked like well-known names in mixed martial arts. Yeah. He's making 300K. Yeah, 150 to weigh in, 150 there to show to end, one to fight. But it's nuts like that. You won't disclose that because they don't want them to know what the fighters are worth. Right. Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's life.
That is life.
I kind of wish boxing was a little bit bigger because I know that the weird correlation, but
boxing could be here. The thing with boxing, it can be bigger. The problem is it's not promoted well
at all.
And that's the thing. Unfortunately, one of the best promoters that you have right now, and I hate to say it, is Jake Paul. Because he is promoting every fight that he has very well. He's very open about it. And he's advertising it, though. Did you know before the Jake Paul-Nate Diaz fight, besides listening to it on our lovely podcast, there was a huge boxing match against Earl Spence and Crawford and Terrence Crawford?
That was the same night as the Gaethje.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why some people knew about it.
Yeah.
There's no advertising whatsoever for boxing, which is such a shame because it is a great sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are into combat sports in general, you should watch boxing. The problem with boxing that also comes up that mixed martial arts does not have this issue is the big zero. What I mean by that is your record. So if somebody is like 10-0, whatever, 20-0, 30-0, 50-0, they want to keep that zero as long as they can because they want that undefeated record, which is fair. That means you are one of the best in the world. Floyd Mayweather is definitely one of those people. Yeah. Best in the fucking world, perfect record. I get it. It's because they want to protect that zero so much, sometimes they take fights that are subpar or they don't even take a fight at all and just keep ducking. It gets to the point where boxing doesn't sound like a lot of fun. It sounds like a lot of fixed fights and bullcrap. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, it's probably going to be like that for some time until either some gaming commission figures it out regarding any fixed fights or anything like that, or boxing somehow does a 180 on advertisement and actually like has it blow up. Because they do have very good fighters right now in multiple weight classes. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a rant. You have Canelo Alvarez, you have Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, Earl Spence, Crawford Jr., Tyson Fury. You got Francis Ngannou coming in for a boxing match.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun.
But, and you got Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua. You got hell of a good amount of fighters that you can promote. But instead, I don't hear dick about them unless I I have to search it up myself.
Or they're fighting Jake Paul.
Or they're fighting Jake Paul.
I think a big problem that like MMA kind of has figured out is like they don't have to fight each other. They really don't have to fight each other if they want. Like in the UFC, there's one belt that they're all going for.
Yeah.
How many belts are there in boxing?
In your weight. WBO, WI, or whatever. All those different types of world boxing, whatever.
Yeah.
You're right, though, because there's different belts, different unification titles. One dude had the last of that, Earl Spencer. There's 4 belts that he won.
Yeah.
The most that the UFC you can get is literally the middleweight, or not the middleweight, but you could be a double champ.
Right.
Nobody's been a triple yet. McGregor's been a double champ. Henry Cejudo was. Like, double champ is huge in the UFC because obviously you're doing 2 different weight classes. But you're right, though, where there's less organizations to worry about, where they don't unify against each other. Like, you'll never see UFC versus PFL or Bellator. That's never going to happen.
Never say never.
No, it's never going to happen. UFC will refuse to do it because they would be too afraid for their fighters to lose.
I mean, who was it? PGA Tour and the one league came together.
That was Rizin and Bellator. Rizin and Bellator do that pretty often. They just did it recently. PFL and Bellator merged recently, too.
But, like, okay, so...
Wait. You're talking about golf. Sorry. He's talking about golf. I heard PFL like mumbled.
PGA.
Oh, my bad. Like, sorry. That's my bad. I mumbled. Yeah.
No, I also thought PFL.
You're good.
Fair enough. You're on that.
I heard P and then it was
that's
like
what
blah,
I mean
blah,
is that I forget the exact the merger and everything.
Yeah.
But I remember
Yeah.
there was that whole PGA was like, nah, like you're
Going
not
to keep it separate. Yeah.
exactly.
They
We're gonna keep it
honor the
separate,
tradition.
and then just randomly one day.
They really screwed over their golfers, PGA.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Anyone that
Goodness.
left early for Live, smartest people ever.
Yeah, they made
apparently,
bank.
right?
Yeah,
They made
millions.
Bang,
Absolute
dude.
millions. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
It's like it's kind of like I think it was Mixer at one point. It was like the competitor to Twitch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mixer brought over like a whole bunch of streamers,
Yeah.
gave them, like a whole bunch of money and stuff like that, and then eventually I forget if they just fell through or Twitch bought them out, but like
Maybe.
Yeah.
all the Mixer people literally made like millions of dollars and then just came right back to Twitch.
I'm going to go
Yeah.
back to Twitch. I mean, what's his name? Disguised Toast. He's a streamer that's been on Twitch, Facebook Live for a while because he
He's
made.
part of OTK.
Yeah, he's a part of a YouTube group called Offline TV. He made shit tons moving to Facebook for a little bit for a deal. The moment it was done, he went right back to Twitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And still makes the exact same amount, if not more, because of all the clout
Yeah.
that he's received.
Yeah, I mean, kind of looking at it, it seems like you're more incentivized to go do the new thing and then just come back later.
Yeah,
Right.
because if
Like-
the new thing doesn't work out, you come back to the safety
Yeah.
net.
Which back in the day, like normally if you do the new thing and that fails, like you're screwed.
You're screwed,
Like, you
but-
ain't
Yeah.
come back. Nowadays it's like, nah.
But the thing is, if you go somewhere and come back for certain things, you know your viewership's going to go up. Like Francis Ngannou, using that as an example, it will never happen just because Dana White hates him with a burning passion. But he's at the PFL right now. He can get knocked out, or he can knock out whoever the hell he wants. But if he wants to come back to the UFC, they would probably try to feed him to John Jones anyway for that title fight
Yeah.
and call it a day. Or not even him, probably Sergey Spivak. Is it Sergey Spivak?
I'm trusting you on this.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's Sergey. I don't think it's Sergey Spivak. There's a heavyweight that's just absolutely killing it right now, and it's Sergey Pavlovich, who's absolutely scary.
You were
There's
close.
They're actually both in heavyweight, Sergey Pivak and Sergey Pavlovich.
Oh, there's
So,
two.
There's
Yeah,
two.
I
That's
thought
why
there
I
was-
got confused.
Okay.
Bear with me here. But they would probably send him to that just to like see how it goes and
Yeah.
get his ass beat. The only other person that's in that type of situation right now, Derek Lewis, the Black Beast,
Yeah.
because his contract ended with the UFC. He hasn't re-signed as of what we know yet. He could go to the PFL, make 8 figures off one fight with Ngannou,
Right.
be done, and then go back to the UFC.
He going to the PFL.
He should.
He's definitely
For the money, he fucking
Yeah.
should.
100%. I only have one more question, and I meant to ask this during the soccer portion of
That-
it.
Sure.
The U.S. women's national team. Did you
Oh,
watch?
yeah.
Did you watch any of their games?
So with my job, currently waking up at like 3:30 in the morning. So I was like, so my girlfriend's Portuguese, and they played. It was U.S. Portugal,
Yeah.
and I was like, they played at 3 a.m. I was like, do you want to wake up like really early with me? like, it's Portugal USA. Why not? Like, let's watch the game. And so, yeah, we watched that game. Just bad. It was
Yeah.
bad. And that was the only game I watched like as much as I could before I had to leave. But like seeing the result from I think it was the first game, USA versus, was it Vietnam? I think it was Vietnam.
I guess.
forget.
I think so.
I just remember.
We're going to go with it. I believe
Okay.
so.
Yeah,
I
I
believe it
remember
was
Portugal
Vietnam. And USA won 3-0. And, I'm not sure Vietnam's status, like, with how often they've been in the tournament, how many, like, how many games they've won, like, what
It was
ranking there
Vietnam.
is.
They won,
Okay.
They won 3-0.
Yeah. So I believe in the last World Cup, I can't remember who it was, but it was USA Women won like 15-0.
Yeah.
And when I saw that they beat Vietnam 3-0, I was like, oh, things are changing.
Yeah.
Like there is, the gap between the U.S. and the rest of the world is like really closing.
Mhm.
And then when I saw the Portugal game, I had actually seen USA Women versus Portugal a couple years ago at the Link.
Right.
Yeah, it was a friendly. It was fun. I think the USA killed them in that game. But like, I'd seen that matchup before. Granted, not the exact same players, but the teams. And I was like, oh, like this is a mess. Like, it's not the same, U.S. women's national team that we're used to for the last,
Yeah.
literally last 10 years. Well, 12, I guess. would have been, I don't know, whatever World Cup.
The last 3 cups at least.
Yeah. Like, yeah, they had won the previous 2, and it was like no doubt.
Oh yeah.
You know, like they were killing everybody.
Yeah.
And like the last Women's World Cup, I remember I was working at Bet365 at the time, and all my money on U.S. Women's National Team. I think like FanDuel paid out early or something like that, and then I just put it right back in. Like,
do it again.
Yeah. But I was just like, watching the game, I was like, they're not creating the chances that they normally could. They're not finishing. The defense is like, it's not awful, but it's nowhere near where it was.
Yeah.
And Portugal was able to like hold them to a 0-0 tie, and I was like, what in the world? Like,
yeah.
And then I think it was the last Women's World Cup. Sweden, Netherlands, France, like those were teams that like could have given the U.S. Some issues. I think it was Sweden in the championship, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, like it wasn't a dominant win from Sweden or anything. Like it was literally like skin of the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
But like they did the thing, like they won. And it's just like something that for me personally, I was like, I didn't think I was going to see this, like, because you still had most of the core from those great teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you got to accept that they're aging and like things change.
Is Father Time getting them?
Mother Time.
I'll be on.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
I honestly blame the coach.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think, like, just from watching the game, the one game I did watch, I was like, this is not organized. Like, and apparently, like, because they had, the World Cups every 4 years, but they have tournaments between them. So I think, like, in the Olympics, they perform poorly. And there was another tournament that they just, like, weren't, the U.S. women's national team that we're used to. And like that was this coach's whole cycle. And it was like, for the most part, people don't pay attention to those other tournaments. Mm-hmm. And so they go, World Cup is like, USA, yeah.
Let's go.
And then they're like, what is happening?
I just remember, I forget, I think it was Carly Lloyd. I don't think she played anymore. I think she was doing the announcing.
Yeah.
Or being an analyst. And after the game, they were kind of like jovial, kind of like jumping up and down, like just signing and stuff and everything. And Carly Lloyd was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You barely got a draw." And I was like, "Uh-oh, that's not
She's
good."
pissed.
So when I saw them lose, the next game, I was like, I feel like that was already foretold.
Oh yeah, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, like if you have certain expectations and like. It's one thing if, like, you win 3-0 to Vietnam and then you do that, but it was still a bad loss. Like, you still, like, showed you're decently dominant, but then you go a 0-0 draw to Portugal, and then you start, like, kind of, like, jumping up, like, you guys won everything. It's, like, that's an indication that, like, one, you're in it, but you're not fully, you know what I mean? Especially to win, like, a World Cup against world-class, like, talent.
Yeah.
Like, especially if, like you were saying, if the coach isn't, like, coaching well, and then you have players who are just kind of like, they're pursuing it, but they're not 100%. There's, like, as an athlete, if you have high expectations and you do that, you're pissed.
Right.
So it was
Absolutely.
just weird to see them do that, and then immediately the next game lose, and I think it was penalty kicks, right?
Yeah. And so
Bryce just swung at the dirt. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I guess I don't watch many women's sports compared to men's sports. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to sound like ignorant or anything, but I think there's still like, this is still a time when like, women's sports is like gaining their footing in the world. And I know for the most part, soccer is like, it's getting up there in terms of like popular women's sports.
Yeah.
So, to be at the World Cup, I know with the U.S., like, we have such high expectations, but, like, still, to be at the World Cup is, like, a big deal.
It is.
And for a sport that is still, like, gaining attention technically around the world, like, to have fans, like, travel out there for you, like, Australia, New Zealand, like, U.S. fans come to New Zealand and, like, they want to see you play. I think like where the men's sport is so established and it's like they have so many more fans. It's like
it's been established for
like,
decades.
okay, it's like, look, we lost like I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Where you kind of still have to put in that PR on
You
the
do,
women's side.
yeah.
Be like, hey, look, like we really appreciate you coming out. Like I totally understand that. Like, it seems like, oh, they don't care about this, and it's like, but I don't know. I think it's bigger than that game. You know, like it was more for the sport rather than the
women's sports is definitely on the rise, though.
Yeah.
I will say, obviously, soccer is always the huge one for us because when it comes to America specifically, women's soccer is basically the best one that we're all aware of.
Yeah.
I know there's always the WNBA. We're aware of that, especially with any current events going on with that too. The only other one that I will say is bigger is because they're just its names is also mixed martial arts.
Right.
You remember Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
Without even
absolutely.
You don't even know how well she did, but you remember who she is. You also do remember Holly Holm knocking her the fuck out. But most importantly, you will always remember Amanda Nunes, one of the scariest women in mixed martial arts. You could say the name. People don't know her directly, but sure. You know exactly who you're talking about. Oh, the woman fighter.
Yeah.
It's like she's gained popularity. She's big in America. She's big in Brazil. Obviously, she's big in Brazil. But she's like gaining, and it's popular all over the world.
Well, you also, and I think that, FIFA, Jesus Christ.
FIFA.
U.S., women's national team has done that considerably as well.
They have.
Like got Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd, Megan Rapinoe. Hope Solo.
Yeah.
Like that whole decade plus of excellence definitely brought them into the mainstream, but it's a double-edged sword because now we're expecting
we need that consistently though.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have somebody like a team for a little bit then die out, because then once it dies out again, we're not thinking about it anytime soon.
Yeah, not at all. America is very big on every 4 years.
Yeah, that's very true. But that actually brings me up to my next question, because the what's it called? We have the World Cup coming to us in 2026?
Yeah, the Men's World Cup.
The Men's World Cup.
And they'll make a stop in Philly.
And
Let's go.
Now here's my question. If you were able to see, I would say, I'm going to give you two different questions.
Okay.
Any two teams play at the link, who would you want it to be?
Ooh, okay. Any two teams
in
the world. I think it would the current Man City team.
Okay.
Or at least the one that just won, like they won Champions League, they won the English like the Premier League, they won the Premier League, and then they won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So like
top tier.
Absolutely them. I want to see them in person. After that, like maybe Bayern, maybe Barcelona. No, not even Barcelona. Like it's probably two Premier League teams.
Okay.
Like maybe Man City, Man United.
So
I'll go.
That's fair.
With that.
My
Those
follow
are always good choices.
Yeah,
that's good choices. My follow-up question, like thinking World Cup international teams.
Okay.
If the U.S. were to play there, who would be the team that you want them to play against there?
I think the obvious choice is, well, there I guess three obvious choices, like Mexico.
Huge.
Yeah.
We got robbed of that. I'm just letting you know.
I know.
We're supposed to go to Gold Cup for the U.S. versus Mexico.
Oh,
U.S.
I remember.
lost.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then we had to watch Panama versus Mexico.
No, it was Jamaica. It was Jamaica.
Was it Jamaica?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jamaica.
And this was before I was a Union fan, actually.
That's right.
And but there
We
were
were
Union
pissed.
players on the Jamaica team.
That's right.
Like
yeah.
the goalie for the Union, best in the league, is the goalie for Jamaica.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
He just became a U.S. citizen officially.
Hey,
Yeah.
nice. Go for him.
But okay, so U.S. Okay, yeah, the obvious ones would be U.S. Mexico.
Yep.
U.S. Canada.
That'd be a good one.
And I think U.S. England.
That is my number one.
And I think that's where I would go with it.
We won the last time, didn't we?
I think we
drawed. Yeah, we drawed against
It was
the
something
UK.
because I know that.
But
I know
it's
that
basically
we
a
were
win.
shitting on
Yeah.
it for that too. We were like
everyone was
screeching
like,
and
screw
evil.
the metric system.
We win anyway.
The hell's a meter?
Yeah.
What's a meter? But that's the one game. If the link is gonna host the U.S. team
Philly
once,
too
in Philly
Jesus.
against. I didn't think of Canada, but the Mexico I'd go for.
Yeah.
But the UK,
Yeah.
I would spend ludicrous amounts of money.
Now, hold on, you got to specify because the UK has four teams.
England specifically.
All right, yeah.
I'd go see Ireland or Scotland. Don't
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
wrong.
I think that
would
would be cool.
But I would want to go see England the most because my ass would dress up as Paul Revere, yelling, "The British are coming," running around with a flag, just scaring people.
We'll get you like one of those toy horses.
And then
too.
pass out rulers to people. Be like, "Here's a foot. Here's a foot. Here's a foot. The fuck's a meter?
Hand them yardsticks. This is
Yes.
what we
Yeah.
This is 3 feet."
This is what football uses.
Yeah,
That would be good.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Now, oh God, I hope it happens.
I hope so, too.
I'll hold you to it. It's recorded.
It is
I know.
recorded. It's
Here's
going
what
online.
I will spend that money for that to
Yeah.
happen, and it will be posted on our Twitter too.
Listen, if I sell the Messi tickets for next season, or maybe this
Yeah.
upcoming, I'll have the money for it.
About
I'll
to
just
say.
gotta
Spot me, why not? Yeah, thanks.
yeah.
You have to have a down
have to
payment on a
caress-
house for that.
I have to correctly invest in all that.
I mean, that's pretty much all I got for him. What do you got, Bill?
Yeah. I just wanted to run through UFC if we have time. If not, I don't care.
We
Over.
Give me your
I got it.
the one you
I
want
got
to
it.
see right now.
Okay. Real quick, Sandhagen, good job doing a lot of takedowns. Good job. Khalil Roundtree next weekend. Take him for knockout against Chris Daukaus because if that man comes out in a Muay Thai stance, he's going to knock the fuck out of Chris Daukaus. That's all I got.
Oh, nice, sweet.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I don't really care about these are just fight nights. The next podcast will be the Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley fight. That one I need to sit down and talk about.
I know those names.
You do know those
Yeah.
names.
I know those. I know those words.
Yeah.
Those are words.
Well, Gabe, is there anything you want to say before we sign off?
I hope people tune in for Union games. And I don't know. That's pretty much it.
That's
Watch
fair.
the Union, support your local team. There's more to soccer than just
We jinxed it.
outside.
Red Bull's up
Oh, good.
1-0.
Up 1-0.
Great.
I told you 1-1 going into.
It could
extras.
happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, Gabe, thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
It
you for
was
having
fun. It was a fun episode. But I need you guys to hear me out real quick. Not
No.
you guys, the people listening. Email us at billandajmedia@gmail.com. Isaiah, I know. Or tweet us at AB Sports Media. And just to end it off, my name's AJ.
And I'm Bill.
Oh, and I'm Gabe.
And thanks for listening.
Thank
Talk
you.
to y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If gambling has become a problem for you or for someone you know, please call 1-800-GAMBLER to seek free, confidential 24/7 problem gambling assistance. You can also text support to 53342 to get more information about problem gambling behavior.